Johann Kahler was a corporal in a German motorcycle brigade in 1939. Today he lives with his wife in Malibu, California, and manufactures glassware.
Im Jahre 1939 war ich noch ein junger Mann. In 1939 I was a young man. And of course, when you're young, you look for excitement and adventure. For me, it came in the war. It was a supreme moment in my life, but it was not what I wanted.
In 1939, Felix Greenspan was a sergeant in a Polish artillery unit near the German frontier. Today, he lives with his wife and family in Buffalo, New York.
My nie byliśmy przygotowani do walki. We were unprepared to fight back when the Germans invaded Poland. We had only our cavalry and our weapons of First World War. But we did not lack courage. We were ready to die in order that Poland might remain free.
In the last days before the fall of Poland, the lives of Johann Kahler and Felix Greenspan came together for a brief moment. Two fighting men, one German, one Polish, now relive that moment in history. I'm Jim Bishop. The word Blitzkrieg means lightning war. It is used by the Germans to describe a new type of attack. No longer will one army face another across long trenches. Poland will be the first victim. On August 31st, 1939, Nazi soldiers wearing Polish uniforms take a German radio station at Gleiwitz. Hitler now has manufactured an excuse for attack. At dawn on September 1st, a blitzkrieg is unleashed and a world war begins. Poland, 1939. It is the last of a beautiful summer, one of the most beautiful in memory. In ironic contrast to the peacefulness of the countryside is the atmosphere of mounting tension in Warsaw, Poland's largest city and its capital. The Polish government is aware that their nation, overrun and partitioned 5 times in the past 250 years, is Adolf Hitler's target. But Poland is not easily intimidated. While her army numbers only 350,000 men, chiefly infantry, there are another 1.5 million men in reserves awaiting mobilization. The Polish soldier is justifiably renowned for his courage and fighting spirit. One of these men, stationed with an artillery unit near the border, is Sergeant Felix Greenspan.
Everybody has a feeling that war is coming and that it will be with Germany. Of course, being soldiers, we are a little excited about fighting.
The Polish cavalry is part of a proud and glorious tradition, an ancient tradition. The men are equipped only with rifles, sabers, and lances, weapons of another age. Poland has only a few tanks, very little artillery, and a small air force. Many of the planes are obsolete and suitable only for training purposes. In Germany, there is a highly trained and magnificently equipped army. The Germans have 20 times more tanks than the Poles, along with a wide variety of modern armored vehicles. Germany has a standing army of 75 divisions, a total of more than 1 million men. One of these men, a motorcyclist stationed near the Polish frontier, is Corporal Johann Kahler.
We all realize these are dangerous times. Some of us must be ready to protect our country. If necessary, we must be ready to die for it.
Backing up the armored strength of the German army is its air force of 1,400 modern bombers and fighters. The Luftwaffe has been trained to work in close collaboration with the armored and artillery units. The German militarists have devised a new formula of warfare, the Blitzkrieg. It is attack based on speed and mobility. While the German army flexes its steel muscles, Hitler is breaking old agreements and making new ones. On August 23rd, Germany signs a non-aggression pact with Russia. It contains a top-secret clause for the division of Poland.
The situation is very tense. We have just heard about the incident in Gleiwitz. It is all untrue. Nothing but German lies. The morale is high. We feel that we can beat the Germans in a few days. They don't have tanks large enough to compete with our cavalry.
Hitler orders Operation Punishment to be put into action. German armies assemble along the Polish frontier. September 1st, Germany attacks Poland. There is no declaration of war.
Everything moves like clockwork. The attack is so orderly, it is hard for me to believe this is war.
At first we didn't see much of the Luftwaffe, but now they are everywhere. The Stukas scream as they dive down on us.
Within the first few hours, the Luftwaffe has effectively annihilated the Polish Air Force. The German ground forces can now move ahead without danger from the skies. The German attack forces are divided into two large groups. The Army Group North is to split the Polish corridor. Army Group South will swing toward Warsaw. Warsaw lies in the center of this complex pincer movement. The German tanks, the panzer wagons, meet little resistance. With incredible speed, this army on wheels thrusts 30 to 40 miles a day into the heart of Poland.
There is no question about it, the tanks are a godsend. Otherwise, our casualties would be much higher. This helps to keep our morale high. We have seen our first Polish soldiers. They saw us coming but took no action. They just put up their hands and said, "We surrender to you." Some of the Polish soldiers speak German. They ask us, "Why are you doing this?" Why are you starting this war? We offer them cigarettes. Some of them take them, some of them don't.
Just 48 hours after the first attack, the German armies have succeeded in gaining most of their preliminary objectives.
We are tired and yet pleased by our advances. Nobody can sleep at night. We just talk about the day's action and hope for bigger successes tomorrow.
The German forces encounter some problems when their panzer divisions outrun their gasoline and ammunition supply. But these are minor difficulties considering their successes. The Poles retreat to the Vistula River, where they hope to make a stand.
Most of the points are heavily defended, but they are falling one by one.
Army Group South destroys the 4 Polish armies facing it. The remnants are scattered in retreat.
The roads are clogged with Poles in flight. Our morale has fallen. We don't seem to have any command or strong leaders. It takes too long for the officers to organize our defenses. For one reason or another, we seem to be constantly prevented from striking back. There is no plan. No organization.
The German army throws bridgeheads across the Vistula.
The villages we enter are completely deserted. The people are so scared they have left everything behind.
The heaviest blow comes on September 17th. The Russians, using the excuse that the old Soviet-Polish non-aggression pact is now void, launched the Red Army into eastern Poland. The secret agreement between Hitler and Stalin has been honored. Is caught between the German army in the west and the Russian army in the east.
We are very surprised that Russia has attacked us. It is difficult for us to believe that the Red Army has invaded Polish soil.
While the attention of the Poles is momentarily diverted to its eastern borders, the Germans managed to completely encircle Warsaw. By Polish rearguard troops and civilians. Bridges are blown up and roads demolished. The only aggressive action the Poles are able to mount are several penetrations by the Podlaska Cavalry Brigade in East Prussia. The action is reminiscent of warfare in the Middle Ages. Horses and lances, but pitted against tanks and machine guns.
fighting about 2 or 3 hours, and now we must retreat. It isn't easy to break out as we are surrounded by Germans. We will fight every inch of the way.
We have to admit now, the Polish soldiers fight bravely. If you call out, stop your fire, surrender yourself, he only fires again until you get him. The Poles we capture seem tired about more fighting. This is especially true as we approach the front near Warsaw.
The Poles who are not corpses are becoming prisoners or refugees. Where can they go? What will happen to them? The Germans have dropped leaflets on the city urging surrender. Poles, come to us. We will not hurt you. We will give you bread. Who would believe these lies? Who would be such a fool to surrender? We will continue to resist.
Warsaw is placed under heavy siege. Day and night the battering continues. A beautiful city is being blasted to bits. Civilian population organized themselves under the command of their mayor, Stefan Starzinski. By the 26th of September, the city is in ruins and the population is near starvation. The Polish garrison asks the Germans for a ceasefire and a surrender parley. The Poles refuse the German terms. o'clock on the afternoon of September the 27th, the battered defenders of Warsaw capitulate. A garrison of 140,000 officers and men march out of the city to lay down their arms. With Warsaw fallen, Modlin is one of the last pockets of resistance.
The news reached us that Warsaw has surrendered. There are approximately 3,000 troops in Modlin. We realize that our hours are numbered here.
Surrenders on the 29th, and all organized resistance in the country ceases. Poland has been conquered in less than a month. It is one of the swiftest campaigns in military history. After Poland, Sergeant Kaler will take part in the invasion of France. He will also fight at Stalingrad. He spends the last years of the war in Italy, where he surrenders to the Americans in 1945. After the fall of Modlin, Corporal Felix Greenspan becomes a prisoner of war. Later, he will be shipped to Auschwitz concentration camp, and he will remain there until liberated by the Allied armies. For the Germans, the price of triumph in Poland is light. A few thousand killed, a few thousand wounded. For the Poles, the cost is staggering. The agony of Poland begins.
Как советский солдат, я знал военную силу немецкой армии. As a Soviet soldier, I had to acknowledge the fighting spirit of the German soldier. We knew they would fight to the bitter end, and they did. In the battle for Berlin, we paid a great high price in blood.
In 1945, Gregory Klimov was a captain in the Red Army. As a German language expert, he fought his way into Berlin with the first Russian troops. Today, he's an electrical engineer and a freelance writer living in New York City. Gerhard Hurst was a captain in a German paratrooper unit in 1945. He also fought in the Battle of Berlin. Today, he is employed by a construction firm in Darmstadt, West Germany, where he lives with his family.
Looking back on the Battle of Berlin, it is clear that it could have been nothing but a failure. There was no sense in pretending we were strong enough to drive the Russians out. People did not die in heroic battle, they just died. The sacrifice was for nothing.
In 1945, in the flaming ruins of Berlin, the lives of Gregory Klimov and Gerhard Hurst came together for a brief moment. Two fighting men, one Russian, one German, relived that moment in history. I'm Jim Bishop. By early 1945, the Russians were sweeping across Germany from the east. In the west, British and American troops are in the heart of Germany. Trapped between these two advancing armies was what was left of the Third Reich. At its center, the target for the advancing Red Army, Berlin. Since January 12, 1945, the greatest Russian offensive of the war has been underway. 180 Red Army divisions under Marshal Konev, Marshal Zhukov, and General Rokossovsky sweep everything ahead of them. By January 27th, Zhukov's armies have swept across the river Oder and in a matter of days reached the fortified town of Kustrin. One of the Red Army soldiers is a 27-year-old infantry captain and expert linguist from Rostov, Gregory Klimov.
I'm assigned to Marshal Zhukov's army group. I don't enjoy fighting. I never did enjoy fighting. It's a dirty job, but it's a job you have to do. There isn't any choice sometimes. As a Soviet soldier, I must acknowledge that some Russian soldiers regard the German army as superior to our own army because they are skilled in technical ways of fighting, and we have to pay a higher price in blood.
One of the German soldiers stationed at Fortress Kustrin is a captain in the paratroopers, a professional soldier, Gerhard Hurst.
Fighting with Russians isn't anything new with us. They always fight with great brutality. I think the feeling about fighting is in all of us the same. Not to fall into the hands of the Russians, not to become a Russian prisoner of war. I'm not afraid to die. Mostly I'm too busy fighting to think about it. There's much hatred among the Russians for what some of the German soldiers have done in Russia.
While Fortress Kustrin holds out, a desperate band of German refugees flees westward to escape the inevitable and reprisal of the Red Army. February 18th, the scattered and demoralized German forces are pulled together for an all-out counterattack. But even as the battle starts, the weather turns warm, and the panzers and the attack bog down in the mud. Zhukov's troops cut the German line to pieces. March 24th, the Russians make an unexpected attack, smash the line, and isolate Fortress Kustrin. The Germans counterattack to reach the city, are driven back. A second attempt is made with even greater losses. 800 Germans escape as the fortress is finally abandoned. Stalin confidently announces, "Berlin is ours now, whenever we choose to take it." As the Russians move forward, they advance along roads littered with the wrecked vehicles of an army now running for its life.
Everything is so mixed up. One doesn't know. Should one defend oneself or fight to protect the country or the civilians? It's terribly confused and nobody knows what to do. Everywhere we see wounded people. We try to help them, to drag them along with us. Nobody alive should fall into the hands of the Russians. We fight in one position, then we have to change it constantly. We are here today and there tomorrow. We have no idea whatsoever what is happening at any other battle places in Germany. We only know we have to fight. We try to hide from the Russian panzers, but always the fear of falling into the Russian hands drives us on.
Against the advancing Red Army, the Volkssturm now takes the field. An ill-equipped army of teenage boys and grandfathers, the Volkssturm faces the battle-hardened Russians, eager to finish Hitler, Germany, and the war. To Hitler, the Russian armies are still Asiatic hordes, fit only to be exterminated like vermin. Each Russian advance brings a fresh promise of victory from the Fuhrer. Hitler moves his command post back to Berlin, to the Führer bunker, the concrete walled burrow under the Reichschancellery, to direct the last desperate defense of Germany's capital city. Early in April, he predicts a miracle. Dr. Goebbels assures the people the Führer knows the exact hour of its arrival. Hitler forbids the building of defenses within the city. In secret defiance, Hitler's generals build roadblocks and tank traps. April 13th, Vienna falls to the Russians. As his armies fall back, Hitler retreats further from the world of reality. April 15th, with the Red Army poised for the final offensive on Berlin, 1,000 British and American bombers come over the city for a combined raid.
Sections of Berlin are in flames. The civilian people of Berlin are starving. They all sit in the cellars with nothing to eat or drink. Many have only a few clothes left. Many families are divided and don't know what's happening to each other.
April 16th. 5 o'clock in the morning, more than 40,000 Russian cannon and rocket launchers, the so-called Stalin organs, signal the beginning of the end for Berlin. .300 Russian tanks, 8,000 planes, more than 1 million soldiers of the Red Army move out to break Fortress Berlin. April 16th, 1945. The final Russian offensive against Berlin is underway. April 20th, as Hitler celebrates his 56th birthday predicting Russian defeat, the Red Army overruns the hastily abandoned Wehrmacht headquarters south of the city. The Russian advance is relentless, moving on the city from the east, the north, and the south. April 21st, elements of Zhukov's army penetrate Berlin's northern suburbs. While Goebbels insists that the Mongol horde will be thrown back across the Oder, the slogan of the more cynical Berliner has become, "To the front by streetcar."
Our guns have the city under heavy shelling. I hear that we have 100,000 guns, and I believe it. The Germans call it Fortress Berlin. They like to call any fortified city a fortress. But when we break through it, we will break the German spirit too. The losses during the last few months have been so great that many criminals have been released from prisons all over Russia to fight in the army. Thieves, burglars, and murderers. You are not sure who is next to you. From the time we reach the first suburbs, we have to fight foot by foot, house after house, block after block. Not only artillery, but even the tanks have to fight in the city. Without artillery cover, the tanks can't advance at all. The more we advance into the center of the city, the more the fighting doesn't cease. The Germans have slogans that every house, every home and building must become a fortress, and they are fighting to the bitter end.
From the very first, it's a fight from man to man. All our military units, even the smallest groups, are encircled by the Russians. Once I hear a German soldier call to me. He's badly wounded and he calls, "Please help me, please take me with you." And then this dying man is shot before my eyes.
Hitler orders a full-scale counterattack which never comes off. His reaction is hysterical. For the first time, he orders the German people told of his presence in Berlin, that he will personally take over the city's defense. As his generals urge him to flee to the south, he shouts, "I will never leave Berlin. Never." In line with Hitler's belief that Berlin would never be penetrated, the defenses are limited. Now hastily thrown up roadblocks and tank traps are quickly overrun. Against 225,000 spearheading Russians, the city itself has approximately 75,000 ill-equipped and ill-trained defenders. In spite of all threats, German desertion has now become commonplace. By April 25th, as American and Russian troops meet at the Elbe River, Berlin is completely surrounded. Escape, rather than defense, is now uppermost in most minds.
All over Berlin, German soldiers are posted to stop soldiers who give the appearance of running away. Those they catch are shot immediately. Everywhere we go, we find the Russians are already there. What should we do now? We still wear our uniforms, pistols, medals, helmets. We can't go on dressed in uniforms. Together with the faithful privates, I find some civilian clothing and try to make our way out of the city.
Approaching the center of the city from all sides, the last barrier to the Reichstag is crossed on April 28th. As the Russians battle their way toward the building and the honor of planting the red banner on its top, Hitler makes his will, leaving the German leadership to Admiral Dönitz. In the early morning hours of April 29th, Hitler and Eva Braun are married. At 3:30 in the afternoon, while the battle for the Reichstag rages, they commit suicide and their bodies are burned.
The height of the Battle of Berlin is the fight for the Reichstag. For us, it is the very symbol of Nazi Germany.
April 30th, the day after Hitler's suicide, the red banner flies over the Reichstag. At 8:23 on the morning of May 2nd, the Berlin garrison surrenders. Five days after the fall of Berlin, on May 7th, 1945, Germany surrenders unconditionally. The war in Europe is at an end. Gerhard Hurst escapes the Russians but finds that this is not enough. Trained for 20 years as a professional soldier, it takes years to establish himself in civilian life. For Gregory Klimov, too, the adjustment is difficult. As an American immigrant, the language barrier excludes him for some time from the practice of his engineering profession. From the devastation of the city came the end of Europe's bitterly fought war. In the rubble of Berlin, in the haunted chancellery and the empty chair of Hitler, one set of problems ended and another began.